What's up, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to make this super cool, super fun, super 3D looking scroll stopper. I call it a scroll stopper because if you saw this in your Instagram feed, you would definitely have to stop and take a second look. We're going to be creating this in Apple Motion with an image I grabbed off of Pixelmator, which I will link to down below so you can follow right along. As a reminder, all of my motion working files can be accessed on my Patreon account. So if you're not yet a member of my very cool Patreon community, join. I will link to that down below as well. All right, let's dive right into it. Okay, the first step is I'm going to take this gummy bear image and open it in Pixelmator Pro. Then I'm going to use the color selection tool to section out each one of these gummy bears individually and then right click and copy and paste as a layer. And now in my layers panel, you can see that that yellow gummy bear is now isolated as its own layer. I'm using the color selection tool here because there's a bit of a drop shadow on these gummy bears that I do not want to bring into Apple Motion. So I want to just section them out using the color selection tool so I can avoid grabbing that drop shadow. Okay, and for this last white one here, you can see that the cutout from the creator from Pixelmator isn't really the best. So I'm going to use the clone tool to patch up this bear before I cut it out from the original image. On my main channel, I am doing a whole series on how to use Pixelmator Pro. So if you're interested in that, I will link to that playlist down below. Now that we've cut out all of our bears, we want to select that original image in our layers pane, right click and delete it. I don't want to bring that into Apple Motion. And then we're going to go up to File, Export, and I'm going to save this as a PSD file. All right, now it's time to hop on over to Apple Motion. Here in our project browser, make sure you've got the right settings here. You want your preset to be on custom, your resolution to be on 2160 by 2160, your aspect ratio should be square, make sure you change that, and you want your frame rate to be 60 frames per second. Let's hit open. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is head on over to my library, and under generators, we are going to select the color solid, and I'm going to drop that right into my project pane, and let's make sure we're selected on it. Head on up to the inspector. Under generator, let's change the color of this. Now, when you're picking the colors of your color solid and soft gradient, they're actually in the end going to end up being a little bit darker than what you select now. So I say really go for a very vibrant color here. That looks good. Now let's head back on over to the library. Again, under generators, we're going to look for the soft gradient, which I'm going to drag in my project pane above my color solid. And again, head on over to the inspector, and under generator, let's dial up that radius. And let's grab this color swatch here and use the eyedropper to reselect that original purple that we made our color solid. But now I'm just going to make it a little lighter. I would caution you at this point that if you think you're going to be exporting this project as a GIF, you want to stay away from any dramatic gradients because GIFs are terrible with gradients. You'll get a lot of banding. So I'm just doing a very soft gradient here. That's my strategy. Okay, now I'm going to select both the soft gradient and the color solid. In my project pane, right click and group these guys. And then on the group level, I'm going to head on over to the inspector to properties, and I'm going to scale this way up. Let's go to 180. That way we're still getting some of the darker purple around the perimeter and the lighter color on top. All right, at this point, we want to make the project 3D. So I'm going to head on up to Add Object, Camera, and it's going to ask me, do I want to switch to this project to 3D? And yes, I do. Now it's time to add those gummies. So I'm going to go to my Finder window, and I'm going to click and drag those gummies to the top of my project pane, holding down my mouse key. Do not let go of your mouse key here. And you're going to select Import All Layers. What this has done is it's created a group for me. So I have a group of all of my gummies, and then I have each gummy bear isolated individually. Now let's give these gummies more of a 3D look using the Replicator. So I'm going to select my first gummy here, and at the top right of the screen, I'm going to hit the Replicate button. And under the inspector window, let's make some modifications. We're going to change the shape from rectangle to line. Then we're going to drop down here to where it says 3D, and we're going to check the 3D box. Now, expand your start and end points. We're going to make the X value on the start point 0. We're also going to make the end point 0 on the X value, but we're going to increase the Z value. So we're adding some depth to this gummy bear. Now it only has 5 points. That means that I've created 5 versions of that yellow gummy bear. I want to add some more to give it more of a solid look. Let's crank it up here to 20. I could go higher than that, but if I do that, the edge of the gummy starts to get a little bit dark looking. So I don't want that. I want to maintain that like bright yellow color. All right, and now I'm going to do the exact same one by one for every gummy. Okay, I'm gonna close up my gummy bear group just to kind of make room here in my project pane. The next thing we're going to do is add a star shape. So let's head up to the library. Again, still under generators, let's find that star. And I'm going to drag it above my gummy bears group. And then in the inspector window under generator, let's play with this a little bit. I think I want to increase the spike width so I get more of this like kind of glittery star shape. And let's reduce the radius significantly. I want to make that really small. Now let's replicate that star as well. Selected on it in the project pane. Let's head on up to replicate once again. In the inspector under the replicator tab, we're going to jump down and check the 3D box. We want to make this 3D. And then under the shape, we are going to select sphere. Under the arrangement, we're going to change this to a random fill. Let's increase the radius to, let's say, 12, 20. And let's increase the points to a whopping 1,000. Now let's head down to cell controls. On the angle randomness, I want to crank this up a little bit because I want all of my little glittery stars to be at different angles. And let's also increase the scale randomness because I want some of them to be bigger than others. And now in the project pane under the blend mode option here where it says normal, we can select that and change the blend mode to add. All right, now let's add our text. I know this doesn't look like much right now, but we're gonna finesse it later and you're gonna be wowed. And we're going to grab the 3D text option. I'm gonna click anywhere in my canvas here, and in the inspector under format, we're going to type our text. I wanna make sure the alignment is centered, and let's make this guy pretty large. Under appearance, let's add some depth to this text to really give it that 3D look. Under the substance here at the bottom, let's leave it on plastic, but let's grab kind of a more fun color. Now this first line of text 3D, I actually want it to be bigger than the rest of the text. So I'm going to grab what's called the Transform Glyph tool. It's down here in the tools menu. And what this does is it allows us to select in our canvas specific letters and make them bigger. So I'm going to grab the 3 and the D, hold down the shift key so that they're not getting distorted, grab the corner of the bounding box and scale them up, reposition them, and then I can grab them one at a time and use these arrows to reposition them exactly how I want them. Now I'm going to grab that text layer in my project pane, head on over to properties, and let's reposition this text so it feels very centered on our screen. All right, now we're going to start playing with the depth on our project. I'm going to bring everything out forward in Z space. If you're not familiar with the Z space and working with the camera and it's hard for you to grasp, I have to recommend my course, Motion Launchpad. We talk a lot about the camera and how to think about working in 3D space. But if you're not so familiar, just try to follow along here. So what I'm going to do is start with my stars replicator. So I'm selected on it in the project pane, and I'm going to change my perspective on this project. So at the top here of my viewer, I'm at active camera because I'm in 3D. I get this little pop-up. I am going to switch this to left. And so what it's going to do is show me where in Z space I am working. So selected on that replicator, I am going to head on over to the inspector window under properties. On the Z value, I'm going to push this forward. Let's bring it all the way to about the 2000 mark. And you can see as I push forward that those stars are coming closer to our perspective in the camera. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for my group of gummies. This time I'm just going to type in a value of 2000. So watch in my canvas how they jump forward. And then let's modify that text as well. And I'm going to bring that also to a value of 2000. So now all of my elements are at the 2000 Z position, but we're going to tweak that a bit in a second. So let's head back to the active camera using this menu at the top of the canvas. And now look, things have gotten so big. It's not that they've actually scaled up, it's that they're coming closer to you in that camera. So we're gonna have to play with the scale of these things a little bit. Let's start with the text. I'm selected on it in the project pane. Under the properties, I'm at a scale of 100. Let's scale this way down. And I'm going to bring this down in the Y position so it feels recentered. All right, now let's work on the gummies. I'm going to grab that entire group and I'm gonna reduce it a hair, but what I wanna make sure is that the perimeter of the bounding box around it stays outside of my canvas. Now let's work on the stars. I wanna reduce the size of the stars a little bit, so I'm going to select my stars replicator here in my project pane, head on over to the replicator tab, and then here under cell controls, let's dial down the scale just a little bit. I don't want them too small. All right, so now we've kind of generally resized and repositioned all of our elements. Now let's do some fine tuning one by one. So let's start with the gummy bears group. I'm gonna drop down here. Let's select that first replicator, and under properties, I'm going to scale this gummy bear down. I'm gonna reposition him a little bit, and I'm going to move him backward in Z space. Let's move on to the green gummy bear. The key to this, guys, is that you have a lot of variation in the Z position of all of these individual elements. Okay, we've got our gummy bears all set up. Let's close up that group. And now let's do the same thing with the text letter by letter. So I'm going to select the 3D text in my project pane, and I'm going to head back down to the transform glyph tool. And now what I'm going to do is use my cursor to grab this blue dot. And if I pull my mouse backward or push it forward, that character moves backward or forward in Z space. And again, letter by letter, I want to create a lot of variation here. Guys, while I'm adjusting the Z position on each of these letters, if you like this video, if you feel like you're learning something, let me know, give me that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell. Okay, so you can see all of our letters look a little bit wonky, which is kind of fun. That's what makes it interesting. The next thing we're going to do is add a light to this project. Now, this step is optional, and if your machine gets angry when you add a light, maybe you want to skip this step. I'm on a new Mac Studio, so I don't really have a problem with this. So let me show you why I like to add a light and how I use it. So you want to head on up to the top of the screen where it says Add Object and select Light. So this is what our light looks like. Definitely not ideal. So we're gonna have to back this light up in Z space like we did everything else. I'm going to switch from the active camera view in my canvas to left. And now what I wanna do is head on over to properties and change that Z value to, let's say, 2500. So what that's going to do is back up that light so it's just in front of our camera there. Now let's go back to the active camera view and make some further adjustments. You can see it's still not as bright and vibrant on the background as the original project was. So let's head back over to light. I'm going to nudge up the intensity to brighten this up. I'm at about 225 there. And then let's just nudge down the fall off to about 2.25. Now let's add shadows here. So I'm going to check this shadows box and then hit the show button so we can make some adjustments here. Obviously these are very harsh shadows. Let's crank up the softness really high and let's dial down that opacity. And I'm going to uncheck this uniform softness button. All right, now let's add the magic movement to this project. So we're gonna head on over to the camera in our project pane. Let's head on over to properties, and on the Y rotation value, let's drop down here, add a parameter behavior, and let's select oscillate. Make sure you have your keyframe editor open here, and let's crank up that speed so we get really tight waveforms down here in our keyframe editor. Now we need to reduce the amplitude from 100 down to 1. And if I run my playhead, you can see we're starting to get the motion we want. Now here's the secret to making your animation loop. We're going to cue up our playhead to the beginning of our timeline there, and we're going to play with the phase, keeping an eye on our waveforms in the keyframe editor. I want to change the phase to the point where my waveforms down here start at a peak. Now I'm going to head on over to properties and look at the rotation Y value. At this point, the Y value is at 1. We need to find a point later in our project where that value is back at 1. So right here at 429 in my timeline, I'm again back at the 1 mark. Now I'm going to take my range tool here and drag it to that exact point. Now there's a trick to exporting this so that the loop is perfect. So let's head up to the top right of our screen, go to the share button, export movie, and under settings, you're gonna wanna make sure that you select the use play range option under the duration section. That's how you're gonna ensure that you get the perfect loop. And there you go, guys. That is how you make a super fun, super 3D scroll stopper in Apple Motion. If you like this video, let me know. Drop me a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. Make sure you join my Patreon if you're interested in my working files. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Picked out some other videos I know you're going to love, and I'll see you again.